What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got a nice little replay for you guys to check out. This one is definitely, I would consider, a non-meta duel, just because Paleozoics are definitely not meta yet. They don't really have all their cards, and hopefully by Invasion Vengeance, they'll pretty much be at full power, but they really do need Treatoads to really get there, because they're a super annoying fucking archetype if you guys have never dueled against them. Basically, the entire archetype is nothing but traps, and it was kind of already annoying before just having your opponent like constantly be able to activate cards from the graveyard, and whenever they detach the material, they go back to the graveyard, and they're immune to like monster effects. So like they're very super annoying. But with Treatoad, they just get to a whole nother level of obnoxious. So he's playing against Metaphos. This seems to be like a Shadow variant. I'm not exactly sure why he's running Teleport. I mean, I know Teleport can get like some of the Metaphors, but I just don't think it's that good, especially with Teleport being limited now. It's just like, well, why even bother? You know what I mean? You could search so many of them already. I think things like Unexpected Die and Painful Decision would just be like far better in my opinion. So anyways, we're gonna roll this, and you guys are just gonna see how annoying that freaking Treatoad can be, and you know it's gonna get obnoxious because he's running Exceed Reborn, so it's gonna be basically like an infinite amount of Treatoad. Like soon as I would say that Paleozoic are like one of the most snowbally decks in the game. So here's how they generally open, right? Card Demise is also like stupidly good in this deck because you usually think, all right, Card Demise, I want to set up a whole bunch of back row, but I don't want to discard any cards. This deck doesn't really normal summon that much outside of the frogs, like things like Rodent Totem and Swap Frogs. Ideally, this version does play frogs. Most of these new Paleozoic decks are going to play frogs. But if you discard your like Paleozoics, it's not a problem because if they're in the graveyard, when a trap is activated, you can summon them back anyways. And as long as you exceed with them, they don't really go to the graveyard. Like, or excuse me, they go back to the graveyard. They will never be banished. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the whole get around dimensional fissure, you know, thing. So anyways, let's see what's going to happen here. We're just going to roll this. Sets a couple of traps. Sets that Stormy Mirror Force and that Metaphor's counter. Looks like he's going to activate the one that cuts attack so he doesn't take full damage. Summons one of his Paleozoics. Now it gets run over, which means it gets banished, and then this guy starts popping his own cards to get searches. He's got a bunch of decent traps, and he's going to activate this one right here. I think this is the one that targets a banished one and summons it to the field. And at this point, the graveyard ones are going to start triggering, so he can do some stuff. He's going to go after the spells and traps of the Metaphors, which is just going to banish that. Now he's able to summon his first Treatoad, and like usually against these Bahamut Shark Treatoad decks, getting one Treatoad is not the be-all end-all because they can't usually summon any like, you know, they can't use the effect to summon from the deck or whatever, but in this deck you obviously can. So standby phase happens, and bam, out comes a Swap Frog. He drops Rodent Totem in the graveyard, and he's basically trying to set up for another Treatoad during his next turn. Summons another copy of or another Paleozoic from the graveyard. Remember, it's anytime any trap is activated, these guys will summon themselves. So he tries to activate his Metaphors. See, this is the first negate, right? He tries to get a full scale, and obviously this guy doesn't know what he has in his hand, so he doesn't want to deal with a pendulum summon. So he says, all right, I'll just give up Swap Frog. I'll just take your monster, right? All right, no biggie there. It's a level 2 too, so he might be able to exceed with it. He even loses his Treatoad, but then he's like, I'm just gonna put Swap Frog back in my hand. I don't know why he attacked in this. He must have forgot. But anyways, he Exceed Reborns, and he not only gets his Swap Frog back, or his Treatoad back, but then he's able to summon one of his Paleozoics from the graveyard. So now he already has potentially another Treatoad, but he might want to go a different route here. So he summons again from Treatoad. So now he can summon 3 Treatoads, but actually no, he can't because he needs 2 water. This one is it's kind of cool that he took a level 2 monster because now he's able to actually go into one of their Exceeds, which lets you activate the guy. This is the one that lets you activate from the hand, right? Yep, yeah, this is the stupid one. This is the one that lets you activate from the hands. So you can basically just activate traps as you draw them. So now he's just activating a whole bunch of cards. He has the triple Treatoads, and I feel like the game's just over at this point. Like anything this guy activates, look, it's just getting stolen. Like, all right, I'm just gonna negate all your stuff. You are not playing Yu-Gi-Oh today, and anything that you activate is going to be used against you. And when them standby phases come, he just gets free frogs. So it's like if you don't kill these Treatoads, he just has like an endless supply, because remember, they can keep putting themselves back into the extra deck. So it's like there's almost no way of stopping this. So he keeps negating stuff, keeps taking stuff. The guy is holding the Regeki the entire time, but he knows he can't activate Regeki because if he does, it's going to get negated by Treatoad, and then it's going to be used against him. That's one of the worst parts about this card and why it's so frustrating to deal with is you really can't use your best cards to try and out it, because if you don't have like a Strike or something like that, Strike is good against Treatoad, then you might have to deal with your own card. So you see him just using the double Rodent Totem to summon Sky Cavalry, saying, I'm just going to bounce your guy. Now, this was a mistake, and this is why it's so painful. He activates that Stormy Mirror Force, but then he's just going to be like, nope, I'm just going to negate it. Now, you can't attack. He chains Xyz Reborn, just summoning the Treatoad that he just tributed right back to the field. So this dude is always having double Treatoad on the board, like 24/7. So now, not only does he negate the Stormy Mirror Force, but this guy can't attack pretty much at all now for the entire game, because now he has his own Stormy Mirror Force to deal with. So it's like, at a certain point, it's almost like you're fighting your own deck. So he does Pendulum Summon finally, but he can't attack, guys. So like, what's the point? You know what I mean? He does activate the Shadow Hedgehog, but he's going to negate that, so that won't activate. And he then blows up one of his scales. I'm not sure why. He activates the Regeki. I think it was out of frustration, but obviously Treatoad is just going to negate. And then he's like, all right, well, your Regeki is mine. So now it's like, look at this. It's like he's fighting against, look at all three of these back rows. Like, these are not the Treatoad players or the Paleozoic players, like, these are not his cards. These are this guy's cards. He's like fighting against his own deck while this guy still has a freaking full field the entire time. So, it doesn't matter that he has the biggest monster on the field. Obviously, he can't attack because of this. So I think he is going to attack too. He just gets frustrated. He's like, fuck it, I'll just attack. And it's like, bro, did you forget about your own Stormy Mirror Force that I just took from you? Like, come on. So then obviously he has game here. He can just go ahead and ram. So if you guys have never played against Paleozoic, man, Denko Seka. That's all I'm gonna say. 2 words. Denko Seka. Because Royal Decree is pretty decent against this deck. The problem is they can still activate the card, so they can still go to the graveyard, so they can still actually do stuff under Royal Decree. And then if they get the Xyz with 3 materials, which I'm sure, I can't click it, I'm sure that he runs, they can actually end up popping Royal Decree. So it's actually, Royal Decree is good against the deck, but it's not like auto win like you would imagine. Denko Seka is pretty much like auto win. If they don't have like, a bunch of frogs where they can go into, Treatoad or something like that, you pretty much just win. But yeah, guys, this is definitely going to be a deck after Invasion Vengeance, and it's going to be like one of the more annoying decks in the game. Or I guess Macrocosmos shits on this deck too. Yeah, if you macro them and you just like banish all their stuff, Dark Law, Macrocosmos, anything of that sort, Banisher of the Radiance, they'll lose to that. So anyways, just wanted to show you guys a nice little replay of how stupid Treatoad is, especially if you're playing Xyz Reborn because you want to be a jerk. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already.